Okay, I'm giving some comments on some of the homework exercises, not all of them, for the first assignment in Chapter 1. I apologize, this will probably be a little bit rough video and audio-wise, but let's give it a whirl here. Hopefully this will help a little bit. All right, in 1.3 here, I got my mark over pen that I'm working on. Here we go, 1.3, set number 1. 1.3 is about induction as opposed to deduction, getting a sense of those two different kinds of arguments. The guidelines or rules are on page 8. That's the main thing you want to pay attention to. Reviewing from before, we have crucial premise and conclusion indicator words, page 2, as I recall. And here we have so, telling us, well, therefore, this is the conclusion. So I could underline the conclusion here. It's likely that you'll be late to class every day this semester. The reason given for that is that it happened the first 2 times. Kind of a stretch there, you might say. What we want to say is that's not a very strong, it's a weak inductive argument. Not the question here, though. The question is it an induction or deduction? I guess I already said it's an induction, and we know that by the qualification of the word likely in the conclusion. So I've underlined the conclusion, and I'll just say briefly right out here, this is some of the roughness you're seeing. Abbreviate that induction. In number 4, we have an analogy. 2 was a prediction, by the way. So 4, we have an analogy. One of the types of, this is where my penmanship is not in practice right now, taking a little bit longer. Analogy, one of the types of induction, but we don't even need to know that in this case, as in many cases, it's right in our face. Phelps will likely be able to match Spitz's record, 7 gold medals in Athens. Yeah, pretty outdated. I wrote this book some time ago, but that's not the issue here. Okay, this video's 2013. I don't know when you're watching it. All right, so the conclusion, as known by the word thus, we have that Phelps will likely be able to match Spitz's record, 7 gold medals in Athens. We know it's inductive, which is our other question here. Based on the word likely in the conclusion and the fact that it's in an analogy. Number 10 is a trickier one here. This one's actually a deduction. And I'm just going to abbreviate there. The conclusion is your hearing is suffering. Appears after the word so. Sometimes our conclusion or our premise is only part of a sentence. It doesn't have to give sentence by sentence. We really have, I'm going to say, abbreviate premise 1 is this stuff. If you go to the fireworks, your hearing suffers. The second premise is that you went to the fireworks. And the primary reason that this is a deduction, and it is for sure, is that the conclusion is guaranteed based on the premises. Okay, not that it's necessarily guaranteed. All right, this is the roughness that is just going to have to persist here. Is guaranteed. This is rule number 4, or within rule number 4. Is guaranteed. Just actually go a little bit faster. Guaranteed. Granted. Alright, I'm just going to have to cut out most of this writing next time. Okay, incidentally, it also turns on hypotheticals, and that's another reason to say deduction here. Basically, I'm going to go ahead and write something. We have if, let's say, you go to the fireworks, let's call that F. This is the kind of thing we'll get used to as we go through the course. Then, let's say H is your hearing suffers. Second premise is F with the conclusion H. If F, then H. We have F, therefore H. Logically, that's definitely right. You might wonder about whether or not the premises are true here. I'm going to have to step this, I think, at this point.